kidnapped by BFFs? My escape vehicle was an elephant pig. The ending will shock you. The search for Harley Quinn has dragged on for 2 long weeks. On a crumbling Gotham street corner, a cynical, weary older woman known as Grandma stares down at her companions, clutching her small dog. It's been 2 weeks, chicken fingers. Either she's skipped town or she's lying on the bottom of Gotham Harbor. We ain't gonna find her. The grizzled, long-haired Richie, however, notices her effort. He offers a slow smile. And yet, I notice you haven't stopped putting up flyers. The younger man, embarrassed, tries to deflect. I'm just looking to get her back rent. Then, his true insecurity spills out. Grandma, you don't think Harley ran away 'cause of me, do ya? 'Cause I made her regret not going out with me? Grandma immediately bursts into a huge, bellowing laugh, clutching her dog tightly as tears spring to her eyes. But the laugh quickly turns ragged, transforming into a violent, painful fit of coughing that leaves her gasping and red-faced. After a few beats of silence, Richie nods, acknowledging the strange, shared moment of release. Thanks, Richie, I needed that. Grandma recovers swiftly, pulling her coat around herself and turning away to face the city. Now let's move it. We still got half of Throat Cutter Hill to cover. Althea Clang, dressed impeccably and standing rigid in her tailored suit, stared out across Gotham's sprawl. Her voice was cold, tight with obsession. Where are you hiding, Quinn? How dare you disappear after committing the greatest crime of all, stealing the heart of your arch-nemesis, Althea Clang? Amygdala, the massive, imposing henchman, lumbered up the stairs behind her. Building people look angry, boss. Althea sighed, irritated by the interruption. Amygdala, managing buildings would be so much easier if you didn't need to put people in them. They say there's too many villains in the sauna. They say the septic line's not fixed yet. They say Althea Clang's too obsessed with the missing clown lady. Amygdala trailed off. What are they griping about now? You want Amygdala to crush them? They think I'm obsessed? I'm hardly. Althea suddenly spun around, her face white with panic, eyes wide. Wait, you didn't crush Harley, did you? The huge man recoiled immediately, hands up in defense. No, Amygdala swears, boss. You said not to, and I didn't want her to tickle me again. Althea took a slow breath, the panic replaced by a chilling, predatory focus. Her eyes, glowing green, fixed on the empty city as a horrifyingly wide, manic grin stretched across her face. Then where are you, Harley Quinn? Harley Quinn sat hunched over on a cheap, dingy mattress, still dressed in her costume, her eyes wide and bruised. She was talking to someone only she could see, a floating, disembodied brain dressed vaguely like her old Harlequin mask. Harley's voice was tired, laced with worry. Where the heck are you, Harley Quinn? She looked around the cramped, unfamiliar space. Not the best bed I've woken up in with no memory of how I got there. Not the worst either. The brain, which she called Quintellect, replied in a stuffy, intellectual tone. Use the evidence of your senses, Harley. Batman figures this kind of thing out all the time. It'go, Harley groaned. Can't you just tell me, Quintellect? I mean, you are my brain. Quintellect huffed, sounding annoyed. I suppose I could assist you. From the movement beneath us, we must be in a vehicle. And I noticed the unmistakable scent of lavender body wash. Harley's eyes lit up with fake triumph. Just the clue I needed to crack the case. Now I know whoever kidnapped me enjoys a relaxing tub soak. How about I try the life hack of looking out the window? She scrambled to the window, pulling the blinds apart, only to throw her head back and scream in outrage. We're behind some kind of blinding laser shield. Quintellect's voice returned, dry and dismissive. I think that's just non-Gotham smogmed sunshine, Harley. Harley pulled herself together, confirming the basic facts. Okay, so we're on a road. I deduce we're in a vehicle of some kind. Yes, I believe we'd already established that much, Quintellect replied dryly. Then the brain shifted to a more personal concern. By the way, you still haven't told me whether you'll go out with Althea. Harley stared at her floating brain, aghast. You're seriously asking me that now? Quintellect sounded genuinely distressed. I'm not sure you'll come up with a way to escape from this predicament, and I'd rather not die in a state of uncertainty." Harley rolled her eyes. "Thanks for the show of confidence, Wrinkles." Quintellect started to say that they needed a weapon, but Harley, already moving, found a hidden compartment. Inside was a magnificent arsenal. Harley's expression instantly changed from annoyance to pure ecstatic joy. "Oh, guns!" She grabbed a hefty revolver and an assault rifle, reveling in the metal and the weight. Harley laughed, completely armed and ready. "And now let us give thanks to the big maniac in the sky." Having grabbed her gear, Harley violently kicks out the door of the moving vehicle and levels her revolver at the occupants, shouting, "Hands in the air, sickos. You messed with the wrong melanin-deficient psycho babe." The woman in the orange suit, Gun Bunny, instantly has her pistol aimed back at Harley. Meanwhile, the green-suited driver, Mayfly, beams under her goggles. "Hi, Harley." "Hey, Mayfly, Harley's up. Closer I am to Fine." Gun Bunny scowled at the distraction. "I shoulda just shot you both before Gun Bunny's crunchy Alterna folk synced our cycles." Harley lowered her gun, her anger deflating into utter annoyance. She recognized the voices. "Well, you didn't, so stop waving that gun around my best friend's head, or they're gonna start calling you Holy Quinn." Gun Bunny begrudgingly complied, pulling her weapon down. "I'm doing it, but only 'cause your wordplay is so painful it's banned by the Geneva Convention." Mayfly cheerfully summarized their situation. "I went to the something, and then to another thing." Mayfly, still behind the wheel, gave Harley a breezy explanation. "You want to know why you're here?" Harley grumbled. "No, 'cause we were just gonna kill you for the street cred. Make a name for the gun buddies, you know? But then we got a buyer." Harley stared, utterly dumbfounded. "Oh, what?" Gun Bunny clarified the brutal business arrangement. "We posted on Thug's List, the Merc message board, that we were in possession of a wounded Harley Quinn, and a collector reached out to us." "A collector?" Harley asked, horrified. "He's based on the West Coast, so we figured as long as we had to deliver you, why not make it a Gun Buddies road trip?" Mayfly shouted excitedly. Suddenly, the entire vehicle hit a devastating pothole with a jarring thud, sending Gun Bunny and Mayfly flying up momentarily. Mayfly landed back at the wheel, utterly casual. "Oops, pothole." Meanwhile, Gun Bunny had stumbled, stabilizing herself by pressing her pistol right against Harley's skull. Harley shrieked in outrage at Mayfly. "You wanna maybe avoid the potholes when your sadistic, stick-up-her-butt monster of a gal pal has a gun to my head." Mayfly glared at Harley, suddenly ferocious. "Don't you talk about my friend that way." Gun Bunny, still holding the pistol close to Harley's ear, spoke up, her voice intense. "It's not shtick, Quinn. Gun Bunny and I are genuine friends who genuinely appreciate every moment we get to spend together. She's made my life a non-stop, violence-filled sleepover party." Mayfly, ever the philosopher, chirped in. "Straight talk, Harley? Nobody gets into this line of work because they're brimming with emotional stability. We're searching for self-acceptance, confidence, a feeling of control, and we look for it down the barrel of a gun." Harley narrowed her eyes, the gun still pressed against her head. "Look, it's just the three of us. You can drop the buddies shtick." Mayfly shook her head sadly. "But taking lives isn't enough to make a life. You need to let people in. Let them find the good in you. I love my friend 'cause she helps me better love myself." Harley looked utterly disgusted by the sincerity of the psychopaths. "So if you're so fulfilled, why are you still in this biz?" Mayfly and Gun Bunny, suddenly embracing each other fiercely, shouted the answer together. "Because it's fun." Harley adopted a false tone of reflection, staring up at the barrel of Gun Bunny's pistol. "Okay, I'll admit it. What you said hit home. Makes me feel kind of bad about what's going to happen next." Gun Bunny and Mayfly leaned in, momentarily distracted by the sincerity. "Why? What's going to happen next?" Before Harley could answer, the vehicle hit another monstrous pothole. The impact was violent, a sickening tossing all three women airborne inside the cabin. Mayfly shouted the obvious. Harley seized the chaotic, weightless moment, driving a hard elbow directly into Gun Bunny's helmeted face. Harley crowed with triumphant glee. Gun Bunny reeled back, clutching her mask and groaning. "Ow! My nose!" Harley kicked back and launched a quick strike at Gun Bunny. "Huh, friendship don't have nothing on a clown who doesn't think ahead." Mayfly reacted instantly, screaming, "Don't give my friend a nosebleed. She struggles with clotting." Harley grinned, amused by the drama. "Aw, that's sweet of you to offer up your face for some punchin' instead." Mayfly didn't hesitate. She fired her pistol at Harley, but Harley was faster. Harley ducked, and the bullet tore through the roof of the van. The driver shouted, "True friendship." Harley was already moving, using the momentum of the near miss to swing Mayfly into Gun Bunny. "You assassin amigas have inspired me. If only there was some way I could celebrate your special relationship through you-targeted violence. Oh, wait, how about—" With a maneuver, Harley had maneuvered Mayfly's head right into Gun Bunny's helmet, smashing them together. Harley laughed triumphantly, her eyes gleaming. "I can't believe I didn't do this one yet. It's a classic move." Gun Bunny groaned, completely disoriented, as Mayfly slumped against her, stunned. "So's that one." Harley kicked the driver's side door shut behind her, taking her spot back in the front of the moving RVV. "You're not the only one with friends. I brought two of them." Outside the passenger window, a tiny yellow car slammed into the side of the Reveille. Inside, Gun Bunny cried out, "Ow! Fists don't count as friends." As the RV sped past a sign welcoming them to Coast City, Mayfly, seeing the attack, desperately tried to shoot the small car. "Shoot her, Mayfly." A 40-degree angle. Slight breeze from the air conditioning. The car's driver, a woman in a Green Lantern uniform, held up a construct of a thumbs up. "You'll like it enough to put a ring on it," she announced, just before the bullets from Mayfly's pistol shredded the Coast City sign. The Green Lantern laughed. "Ha! You missed." Mayfly cursed and fired again, riddling a parked white car with holes as they roared past. "You missed again," the Green Lantern called out, but Mayfly corrected her, panicking as she realized the consequence of her recklessness. No, she didn't. She hit the steering column. With that, the massive RV swerved wildly off the road, crashing into the front of a house, smashing through brick and wood in a monumental explosion of debris. Meanwhile, in Gotham City, Althea Klang sits in a cramped, ugly meeting hall surrounded by Gotham's various disgruntled, low-level villains, yet she pays no attention to the meeting. She is scrolling furiously through her phone, where she has found a series of vacation selfies posted by the Gun Buddies. Harley Quinn, looking utterly dead inside, is forced to pose with her captors in front of monuments like the St. Louis Arch and Mount Rushmore, victims of a true villainous road trip. Althea's face twists with proprietary rage as she glares at the images. What the hell were those idiots thinking, abducting the woman I vowed to ravish? I swear on Le Corbusier's grave they'll pay for this. A woman in the crowd shouts at Althea, "We came here to share our complaints, not to watch you look at your phone." Althea looks up, utterly cold. "It's not my fault. The algorithm held these photos back from me, then sent me a fistful of notifications all at once." She delivers a final, smug architectural philosophy to the room. A sterling example of the folly of connection, the distraction and the complication of human interrelationship. Althea Klang, standing behind a podium, addressed a new, strange figure that loomed purple in the crowd. "I don't recognize you from the Resident Files. What are you doing here?" The creature, wearing a trench coat and a small cap, replied, "What are any of us doing anywhere? We are struggling in the adhesive web the world casts around us, thrashing against the conspiracy that binds all to all. You may call me the deconspirator. There is a malicious intelligence at work here, and I aim to overthrow it." Althea smiled thinly, sensing a kindred spirit. "I suppose you're referring to me?" The deconspirator replied with dramatic flair. "In a sense, yes, and those like you. Those who construct elaborate conspiracies to tyrannize those who should be free to disassociate. You have built a collusion of habitation, a residential hive that demands collaboration and connivance between all who shelter here. Rules and systems that force human beings to become human belongings. You have made of these people a condominium cabal that offends the individual nature of life. Althea, suddenly bored with the conversation, snapped her fingers. "That's enough! Ravager, remove this irritant!" The deconspirator let out a panicked cry as Ravager and Amygdala moved forward to subdue him. Ravager leveled her sword at the purple figure, her voice flat and dangerous. "You heard my employer. Start walking or start bleeding." The deconspirator spread his hands, completely unconcerned by the blade. The labor relationship. Another odious shackle, binding you to her and her to you. Limiting each of your actions, dictating your feelings. How can you even know what you want from life if you must live within the limits she sets for you? Ravager hesitated, a genuinely conflicted look crossing her face. "Actually, now that you mention it, I've certainly felt held back ever since I took this job." The deconspirator seized the moment, turning to the assembly of Gotham malcontents. A job, a co-op, a community. So many illicit entanglements, so many unnatural juntas. Is this any way to live? The villains in the crowd erupted in shouts of agreement. "Yeah, how's sharing a building different than being in some kind of criminal plot?" one man yelled. A woman shouted, "I don't have a boyfriend. I have a co-conspirator in a scheme to pretend we're happy." Another cried, when I nod to someone in the elevator, "I'm complicit in the corruption of big etiquette." Althea, hearing the chaos and betrayal, screamed, eyes glowing green with fury. "What are you doing to my residence?" Amygdala seized the deconspirator by the collar, dragging him away, but the philosophical radical got one last word in, his voice ringing with smug victory, setting them free. The deconspirator's words had broken the fragile sanity of the room. The meeting erupted into anarchy. People fought and threw chairs, shouting things like, "Stop forcing me to be part of your lifestyle intrigue and leave me alone. I refuse to be implicated in your society." Althea stood behind the podium, completely overwhelmed and furious. "What are you doing? Don't listen to him." Ravager, realizing the danger to her boss, shouted, "Sic semper, the tyranny of human civilization," as she swung her staff toward the melee. Amygdala shielded Althea with his colossal body, roaring, "Stay back from the boss!" The deconspirator, the purple instigator of the chaos, simply turned his back on the ensuing riot, walking calmly out the door. He hummed a jaunty tune as he departed, observing the violence spilling out onto the floor. "They've gone mad. They've all gone mad." Harley Quinn picked herself up from the wreckage, pushing through the tropical foliage surrounding the destroyed RV. She rubbed her head, dizzy. Can't remember what made my head hurt so much, but it better have been fun." She stared at a strange black and white animal rooting nearby. "Some kind of elephant pig. I must have a concussion." Quintellect sighed. "I don't think that's what it's." Harley quickly cut her off. Shut up. I can Batman world's greatest detective this. From its coloration, I can tell it's a Malayan tapir, which is found in Southeast Asia. We must be somewhere in its native region, stretching from the Malay Peninsula to Sumatra." Quintellect sounded genuinely impressed. "Wow, I had no idea you were so knowledgeable about Asian mammals." Harley puffed out her chest. "Yeah, I'm pretty smart." She then pointed to a nearby sign. "Plus, I had some help from that information plaque." The plaque clearly labeled the animal as a Malayan tapir and listed its natural habitat. Now my detective brain tells me we're in a zoo. Just then, Gun Bunny and Mayfly, covered in dust but furious, burst through the dense plants, weapons leveled. "Freeze, Quinn!" Mayfly shouted, aiming her assault rifle. Gun Bunny was absolutely livid, her voice shaking with righteous fury. "You wrecked our rev, but you won't wreck our trip." Harley Quinn didn't hesitate, scrambling onto the tapir's back. As her captors leveled their guns, Gun Bunny shouted instructions to Mayfly. "The buyer wants her alive, so aim low. Take out her legs." Mayfly opened fire immediately, bullets striking around Harley as she urged her temporary mount forward. "Run, elephant pig, run!" The desperate animal charged, smashing violently through the habitat's glass barrier. Harley held tight, dropping low on the tapir's back. She leaned down and spoke to the creature. "I know, Trunky, you were only 2 days away from retirement. But now you're free, elephant pig. You're free, and I'm taking the credit for it." Riding the panicked mammal out of the ruined enclosure, Harley shouted a gleeful warning to the scattering zoo visitors. "Out of the way, people! Run for your lives! C-list supervillains on the loose." Mayfly stopped her pursuit, furious at the jab. "Stop calling us C-listers. We nearly killed you twice." Gun Bunny put a soothing hand on her friend's shoulder, trying to reassure her. "Don't let her get to you, Mayfly. I know how great you really are." Harley rode the frightened tapir away from her attackers, still talking to herself. "Trunky, maybe this god-awful, non-stop West Coast sunshine has baked my brain. But even as these chicks are trying to shoot us, I can't help being a little envious." The bullets whizzed past her head. "Hey, I thought you were gonna aim at my legs." Quintellect's voice, full of concern, broke through her thoughts. "The thing is, I got people I like, but how come I feel like I don't got people I can rely on?" "Real friends?" Harley replied. "I'm right here." She watched a giraffe munching on leaves nearby. "Even Ivy, my evergreen true lovin' soulmate, she'd do anything for me when she's around, but that ain't too often. Am I the only gal on the planet who ain't got a best friend?" Quintellect shot back immediately. "And how much help would you be if I had to move a big piece of furniture?" Just as Harley was mulling this over, the tapir burst through another gate and into a crowded, brightly colored area. Two women were center stage, one in blue and white, the other in green military gear. The woman in blue, holding up a pair of giant scissors, addressed the crowd. "And that's why, as part of our Coast City vacation, baddie-busting besties Fire and Ice are so excited to cut the ribbon on this brand new." Her jaw dropped as Harley Quinn, riding a Malayan tapir, charged through the crowd. "In Quinn!" Fire exclaimed. A man in the audience, startled, muttered to himself, "Geez Louise, case in point." Ice looked at Harley, bewildered, then back to the crowd. "No need to cut a ribbon on a brand new me. Same old me was just heading out." Harley, perched on the tapir, threw up her hands. "You got it all wrong. I'm not stealing any animals." Fire, radiating icy cold energy, focused a blast that sent Harley and the tapir flying. Exactly the kind of depraved Gotham-style crime we've sworn to keep out of America's zoos and aquariums. Harley landed hard, spitting out dirt. "Not so fast. Obviously you're here for some kind of weird, stolen animal-themed scheme." Mayfly pointed to the animal Harley was riding. "We can literally see that you're stealing the zoo's Malayan tapir." Harley sighed, rubbing her back. "Okay, impressed you didn't need the information plaque, but I'm not here to pull off a scheme." The gun buddies finally caught up, crashing through the brush, their guns aimed at Ice and Fire. Gun Bunny shouted to the heroines, "All right, ladies, hands in the air and drop our clown." Mayfly chimed in, equally aggressive. "The gun buddies aren't letting two super has-beens get in the way of our scheme." Harley immediately threw up her hands, trying to distance herself from the approaching chaos. "They're not with me, I swear." Fire, engulfed in furious green heat, glared at Mayfly. "Has-beens? I don't even know who you are." Mayfly, striking an exaggerated acrobatic pose mid-air, was undeterred. "I'm Mayfly, a world-class assassin. Though I briefly taught Zumba." Harley watched, shaking her head. "What are you even supposed to be? Like a killer aerobics instructor?" Fire snapped back at the costumed criminal. "You're going to wish you never set foot in the Coast City Zoo." Ice, radiating calm blue energy, tried to intervene. "Fire, stay calm. There are children here." The gun buddies ignored her plea. Mayfly fired her assault rifle at Ice, whose icy powers flared up, deflecting the bullets into smoke. Gun Bunny, meanwhile, rushed forward to protect her friend. The assassins shouted a synchronized declaration of loyalty. Gun Bunny shouted, "Nobody shoots fire at my best friend." Mayfly screamed, "Nobody shoots bullets at my best friend." Harley watched the unfolding violence, her face a mask of bewildered loneliness. Harley leaned down and patted the Malayan tapir. "Elephant pig, my big friend. See, I have one too. I think this is our cue to skedaddle." But it was too late. Ice lunged forward, encasing Harley in a thick cage of ice. "No skedaddling today, Quinn." Harley, trapped, sighed in resignation. "Aw, man, this sucks even worse than how much it sucked before." Ice, pleased with her work, then turned her power onto the gun buddies. And this will take care of you two as well. Gun Bunny and Mayfly were quickly frozen in place, utterly defeated. Fire stepped up, satisfied. "You're lucky my friend is here, or you'd be roast bunny." Mayfly, trapped but indignant, sputtered, "Watch your mouth when you're talking to my friend." Ice addressed the watching crowd of civilians and zoo staff, calmly motioning to the frozen criminals. "Please remain calm and enjoy the zoo, everyone. Fire and Ice have everything under control. I'm still considering this a victory for friendship, just not our friendship." Harley, looking at the trapped tapir nearby, offered the final word of advice to the animal. "Now's your chance, little buddy. Go! Be free!"